Welcome to Lymphecure, where we discuss all issues related to lymphedema. My goal is to raise awareness and educate people about this disease. 10 million Americans suffer from lymphedema, with 50,000 diagnosed each year. Yet, very few people have heard about it. As of today, there is no cure, but that's changing. Please subscribe to this channel to help us make lymphedema known by everyone. With awareness comes medical attention. With medical attention, a path to a cure. So please subscribe to be part of this effort. The lady we're going to interview now is from Wyoming and has been battling lymphedema for 20 years. She has generously offered to share with us her story. Jean, how are you?
I'm well, Dominique. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you again for accepting to do this video. It is not an easy thing to talk about this disease, so I'm really grateful that you have accepted to come here on Lymphecure to tell your story, to inspire, to encourage, and most importantly, to let people know that they are not alone and there is hope. And there are lots of scientists working on this disease now, and we are part of it. And because we're talking, we will be heard. So when did you notice that there was a problem?
Well, actually, I did not notice there was a problem until several years after I had surgery for cancer that involved removing several lymph nodes. For me, particularly, those lymph nodes were in my groin, in my right groin. So I noticed a few years after that, my legs started swelling, in particular, my foot and ankle. Several months went by. I finally got a diagnosis from a vascular surgeon that said, "Oh, you have lymphedema." Well, I'd never heard of it.
And did you ask your doctor what it was?
I did, indeed, I did. And, he was able to communicate that it was a failure of my lymphatic system to remove the lymphatic fluid from, in my case, my right leg. But I knew nothing about it. And he knew about it, but he really didn't have a lot of information as to what to do next. In fact, he said, "Oh, I've got a patient that has lymphedema, and his wife just massages his leg and it goes down." So I thought, okay, well, this is going to be easy. I'll just get a massage. I'm all for that. And then the next hurdle at that time was finding a massage therapist that knew what the heck a lymphatic massage was. And I have been to probably more people that call themselves lymphatic massage therapists than probably I can even count anymore.
And did it make a difference?
It made a difference temporarily, particularly early on. They were able to break it up a little, get it softer, get the lymphatic fluid moving. But as we all know, it's not a cure. And so, literally later that day, the next day, I would be right back where I started. One of my doctors wanted to put me on a diuretic, thinking that this was water retention. And I knew enough to go find out more about it, to find out that no, that is not the medication most times for managing lymphedema.
How swollen was your foot? Now it's just in the foot at this time.
At this time, it's in the foot and the ankle, and going up the calf. I want to say it was about, at that time, probably about 10-15% larger than my left leg.
And so it wasn't a big deal. You probably said, "Oh, I could live with this."
I'm not really, because I knew there was something wrong. My shoes started to not fit very well. When I took my sock off, it left an imprint around my ankle. To tell you the truth, it was freaking me out.
Did you have any pain in your leg?
I
And
didn't
how,
have pain, but there was some heaviness to it. And particularly 20 years ago, I was more active than I am now. But even then, I was tired. It affected my walk, it affected my back. I could feel the effects of it.
when did the disease start to become a real problem and have
Well,
an impact on your life?
probably from day one, but but it really started to make an impact on my life only about a year after I was diagnosed, because as I started to research, I started to realize I'm not going to get rid of this. And I have to do all the work. I can't just call up a doctor and go to the doctor and have him fix it. I had to do a lot of research. I had to do a lot of useless therapies. I did a lot of massage therapies. I did a lot of things, diet and exercise that didn't make it worse, but it didn't make it go away.
It didn't make a difference, not anything you would notice.
No.
So when did the disease progress to the entire leg?
Fairly quickly. It was about within 5 years. And I believe it's in my abdominal area as well.
Okay. And your leg is now, would you say 10, 20, 30% more swollen than the other leg?
I want to say my leg is probably close to 40% larger than my good leg.
Yeah, so that's significant. And I mean, it's visible, it's significant.
I had a doctor once tell me he estimated my right leg was about 12 pounds heavier than my left leg.
Thank you for that. That's really an important thing to note, is the leg starts to feel really heavy because it's filling up with that fluid and all that lymph product. So what do you do now to manage the disease? Because over time, not only you deal with the pain of the disease, the discomfort, not being able to fit in your usual clothes, but also there is a cost associated with the disease that is not covered by any insurance, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely. I did develop cellulitis for the first time a couple of months ago, and that was painful. That was very painful.
When a patient gets cellulitis, there is a change to the tissue and there is tissue damage. And that's why it's really important to manage the disease so one doesn't get cellulitis. Once you get cellulitis, that is another level of the advancement of the disease. At least that's how I understand it.
Prior to that, and I'm talking about 20 years that I've been managing this, I had only had a couple of puncture wounds, I think maybe twice. And I remember the first time that happened, and it would not stop leaking. It was just a tiny little cut I got. And it took me a week to get the healing process done. The lymphatic fluid just leaked out of there consistently. It was just one of the most annoying, scary things I've ever had to deal with before the cellulitis. So how I've been managing my lymphedema in between periods of just wanting to forget it and not do anything and just throw in the towel and say, I want to live my life. I don't want to go around like this. I just feel, tied down to this management because, I'm supposed to wear support hose, compression stockings, every day, all day. I have massages, most of which, for the good ones, I have to pay out of my pocket. I try to get once or twice a month. My insurance company did cover a pneumatic pump. So I'm able to use that once a day. I have a special garment that I wear at night. I go swimming because the pressure in the pool is supposed to be good. I watch my diet, I exercise, I take care of my skin.
I would like you to take us through the process of managing the disease each day.
My typical day would start out that I would take off the garment I wore at night, which is it's like a sleeping bag for your leg. It's quilted in sections and it's tight and it goes over your foot and up to your thigh. So I'd get up and take the sleeping bag off, and then I would take a shower, and then I would put my compression garment hose on, and then I would go work out or go to the swimming pool or do my daily activities all day. I'm on my feet a lot. Um, if I should come home, break up the day, come home, elevate my leg, take an hour and put my pump on, and then get up, drink lots of water, go, do some more exercise, and then do my pump again before I go to bed, and then put my night garment on again at night. Maybe if it was a day to have a massage, I'd have a massage. Might spend 10 minutes on my vibration plate. Going to spend time dry brushing my skin and moisturizing. Probably missed something, but that would be typical.
So there isn't 1 minute in the day that you don't think about it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
And that is really the burden of this disease. With most diseases, you can take a pill or you can bandage your arm if it's broken, or you can take some treatment, and you have breathing room. You have a time where you get relief. With lympha, as I call it, there is no relief. There is no freedom. You are trapped.
That's so true. And there's the stigma of, it's self-esteem. And so I've completely changed my wardrobe. I don't wear short dresses. I have to wear larger legged pants. Forget about any attractive shoes. I'm in tennis shoes all the time. I finally got to the point where I would go to the beach or the pool, but I try to jump in the pool and get out of the pool and put a towel or a skirt or something over my leg. Because I have had on occasion people say, "Oh, your leg's really swollen." Like, yes,
You
I
didn't
know.
see it.
Thank you so much for pointing that out. So if I'm in a good mood, I'll try to educate them on lymphedema. It's just affected my life so much. I can't ride a bike because my balance is off. We were in Costa Rica a few years ago, and we were zip lining, and I could not. And we're way up high in the trees. There's no other way to get down other than to zip line, and I could not stay steady on the zip line. So they had to attach a lot of extra weights to my opposite side to balance me out. And that the distribution of that was not correct. So it was very scary.
I had a woman who told me when the disease appeared, she didn't know what it was. Her leg was just very swollen. It was 50% more swollen than the other leg. And her husband told her, "Why don't you just exercise and get the other leg just as big, and then they'll be fine. They'll be balanced."
I wish it was muscle. I wish I had these muscles instead of the fluid.
Yeah, but that just shows you the ignorance there is around this disease. So it's uncomfortable, and then it does impact your family life.
I had someone ask me once, "Why don't you just get it amputated?"
Problem solved.
It most certainly does. Particularly as I'm getting older, I'm 67 now. The rest of my body is slowing down as well. And I'm noticing particularly long-term effects of dragging around an extra leg in my back and in my hip, on my pelvis, on my the opposite side. My body's kind of saying enough.
It's
Like,
destabilized.
correct. And like I said, I don't hop on a bike anymore. I used to go on the rides with the kids, the grandkids at the fair, and I can't get in and out of the ride. Sometimes I have to be careful which side I sit on the airplane. Just really paying notice as to which leg is going to be able to I have to lead with to be able to get in and out of certain situations.
How about going on vacation?
Up until I had the cellulitis, we were pretty big travelers. I developed the cellulitis in Hawaii, and it was a real wake-up call. I was very thankful I was in Hawaii because I have been to many countries where the outcome may not have been as good as it was being in Hawaii. I really had to rethink some of my vacation plan. There was a fleeting moment where I thought, well, I'm just going to stay home, stay in bed. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to do anything. My life is over. It's just not worth the risk. And I immediately felt like really old and invalid.
When you travel, do you take your pump with you?
No, not usually. Not usually. I did not, particularly in foreign countries where the electrical is different. And I hated it. Still do. I hated it. I didn't want to look it around. I didn't want to go through TSA and tell them what it was. I thought, it did very little good anyway. I thought I can do without it for a week or two.
Apparently, it's supposed to reduce the occurrence of fibrosis.
I'm not sure either. It especially as the disease progresses, it has not made a big difference in my leg in the last few years. I will say, particularly initially, it felt good. Anytime someone massages my leg or my foot correctly, it feels good. It just feels good because you don't realize how heavy and achy it is until maybe you get in a jacuzzi or you elevate it or you wrap it or someone massages it. So I think it moved the fluid, it broke it up a little bit. But again, like I said, as time goes on, it's kind of a losing battle. I mean, whatever I gain, I lose back right away.
So it hasn't reduced the swelling. It hasn't really stopped the advancement of the disease.
No, I would say the only thing that has temporarily helped is after I had the cellulitis, I got completely wrapped again, which means from toe to groin, you are wrapped like a mummy. There are layers and layers of bandages, and then the top is an ace bandage, and they're tight. You can't bend your knee. You have to wear a long dress because there's no pants that'll fit over that. And I had that done every day for 2 weeks.
And it's important to add that while you're bandaged, your mobility is severely reduced.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
You can't really, you're basically in the house. You can't go out, you can't drive because the leg is straight and encapsulated. Yeah.
And you're wearing this sandal booty thing that is very awkward and bulky. I mean, I tripped on it a couple of times. However, it did reduce my leg, but the stipulation is that once you get that fluid squeezed back out, that you have to stay at that compression level. So I haven't tried them on yet. I just got a new pair of stockings that I have a feeling are going to be very, very tight and restrictive. And so again, it's not a cure. It's a temporary.
It's just relief.
Correct. It is probably better than ignoring it completely, because my philosophy is that if you can squeeze the fluid out, at least maybe it's out with the old, in with the new, because you don't cure it, but it's nice to get it moving and get it out of there a little bit. But And it wasn't great for my skin either, because being wrapped that tight for 24 hours, whether
Creates
it's,
irritation.
yes, whether it's being wrapped or a tight stocking and then the nightwear, you know, my skin has very little chance to breathe. And so that's a whole nother factor.
So when you take off the bandage, do you find that your skin is red, irritated, or any inflammation?
Yes, I have to be very careful. If it bunches up around my ankle, it'll cause a sore. It could break open my skin. If it's rubbing on something, it can do the same thing, irritate the skin. It gets hot. There's places I have hot spots. It gets red. So yes, it bunches up behind the back of your knee. It's very uncomfortable. Had my calf or some part of my leg pressed against something. Maybe I was on the floor on my knees. Maybe I was bending into the car to get something and put some pressure on my knee or my side of my leg, just for a minute or two, mind you. And I'll have a dent where it has just pushed the fluid out of that spot for the minute, like you said, and then it just creates, that gumball effect of putting your thumb in the gumball.
And then
it just,
it
yeah,
takes a long time for it to bounce back.
it
That's a
does.
sign that you have an advanced disease and you have fibrosis, because now the fluid there are different levels of this fluid. The best place to be is when the fluid is like water, which is rare. Then it gets like, as the disease advances, it becomes like syrup. And eventually, when we get to this stage where you can make dints, that's more like peanut butter.
Yes.
And that's what eventually turns into cellulitis. And I mean, we've seen images on the from other patients in the group that are just horrific, heartbreaking.
Yes.
Not only their limb is, it's usually the leg is very big, but there is no more space to pack on the fat and the fluid, and the skin builds little pockets. One of the ladies posted a picture of her leg. It looked like corn. It's like all these kernels on her skin. So yeah, there is no solution that doesn't have side effects. When you are there with the pump, yes, you're feeling good, but you are destabilized. You're sitting in a strange position, and it hurts your back eventually.
It does.
Let's talk a little bit about the cost. How much does the pump cost? I'm speaking in French.
So my pump is probably 15 years old. That particular pump was $8,000 15 years ago. I was very fortunate my insurance covered it. I've just now ordered a new pump, and the structure is much different than the old pump. This pump is about $3,500. And then the garment that my therapist recommended, my insurance doesn't cover that particular brand. So I'm out of pocket $100 a pair. My night garment is $350. The insurance covered part of that. If I could find a qualified lymphatic therapist, my massages would be covered in part by my insurance, but I have to pay someone that I like to massage, and that's $100 a massage. The adjustment to my clothes and my shoes, probably comparable to, maybe cheaper. Maybe I'm saving money. I'm saving a lot of money on shoes.
Do you buy your garments custom made or just off the shelf?
I buy them custom made. I bought some off the shelf originally. I did not. It's not one size fits all. I think they're fine if you don't have lymphedema, for maybe for traveling, or if you need them for some other reason. But and then they don't really make them big enough. I don't know what they think swelling is, but the large size barely even went up to my knee. Yeah, no,
I had a patient who actually she gets hers custom made, and it's a full pantyhose, and she pays $1,300.
I believe it. Yeah.
$1,300 for one pair, and she has to buy a new one every 6 months.
I think, and then you've got to have like some little foam compression things you put inside sometimes for compression points to move extra fluid if it's stagnating around a particular place. So,
if you have type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, you can get medication for that, and it's covered by insurance. With this, there is no medication. It's all these management tools that are not most of them. I mean, you're lucky you have an insurance that covers actually the pump. Most people get that out of pocket. So you're 20 years in, and you decided that there's gotta be a better solution than what I'm doing. And how did you find out about the surgery?
so I have been following your Facebook page and some other information online, and I have always kept an eye on it. In fact, I about 8 years ago I had a consultation for another type of surgery that I felt at the time was just too invasive, and again, it wasn't a cure. It was just going to involve several incisions to drain the fluid and then wrap it up, keep it wrapped up tight all the time. We'll drain it out and then you keep it wrapped up all the time so it doesn't come back in. And so I've kept an eye on it. I've heard of Dr. Chen. I've seen other people post about their surgeries, and I was very skeptical at first. So I'm so appreciative of, again, your page and you and the information I got and speaking with you. And as a result of that, I have a consultation with Dr. Chen in a couple of weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited and nervous at the same time. We'll see.
Why nervous?
I'm nervous because I have so many years invested in this disease that I have a difficult time thinking it's going to be worth it or make a difference or be a cure, if you will. I'm nervous about the procedure itself, about recovery and pain management. And then I think to myself of all the advantages of getting something like this done. And I think, why am I worried about losing, I don't know, 4, 6, 8 weeks when I lose something every day in my life right
now? So two things I would like our viewers to know is the surgery. There are several types of surgeries that now are being done. The initial one you're going to have is going to be liposuction and excess skin removal. So it's going to make your leg a lot smaller. It may even make it smaller than your healthy leg. So that's the first thing that he does. After that, you may grow healthy lymph vessels, and he will do the LVA. The LVA can get you closer to a cure. So even if you cannot be completely cured, you are not going to be doing the type of management you're doing now. You will be able to wear lighter compression. You won't have to be worrying about so much swelling. The LVA stops, both the surgery and the LVA stop the progression of the disease. So you cannot lose by doing this surgery. We have not seen, they've been doing this type of surgeries now for, again, Dr. Chen can answer to that better than me, maybe for 10 years. And with the LVA, they have only 5 years of data in this country, and I think 6 years in China. There hasn't been one person. We have not heard about one person who had this surgery and regretted it.
That's so exciting.
That should tell you something. I think
It
you're in a good place.
it does. I'm so excited about that at the same time. I think it just goes to show that you should never give up on knowing what's out there, what's available, all of the information about it, because it's so easy, and I'm guilty of it myself, of giving up, of just saying it's not going to get any better, this is the best it's going to be, I'm just going to have to learn to live with it, there's nothing I can do, blah blah blah. So I'm very excited that this is, and a lot of the recognition now that's going on for lymphedema, I'm so excited that it's getting some more attention. My goal is that it doesn't get worse, and it's a losing battle. I mean, it's not,
Yes,
yeah,
without treatment, it's a losing battle.
losing battle.
But not anymore. Once you have your surgery, you will be in the winning on the winning side.
Well, I'll let you know, because I'm looking forward to the journey.
We will do another video after your surgery, and you're going to be a different person. I guarantee it.
I'm so excited that you're excited for me. I really am. Your positivity and your enthusiasm are just contagious. And
oh, thank you. Because
without you,
the thing that I have noticed with this disease, you see, when someone has cancer or they have heart disease, they're all excited to get surgery because I want to get rid of that tumor. I want it out. But with lymphedema, people think surgery, maybe it's not going to work. Oh, I can just live with this. I had patients who told me, oh, no, I don't feel like going through the pain of surgery.
yes,
and that's a little frustrating for us in the healthcare business, because we know that person can be helped. We also know if it's gone untreated, it will get worse. It always gets worse. But there is another thing that medicine has not, and does not, as of this day, medicine has not understood, is the disease does plateau. We don't know why. It can lay dormant, stay the same level for 5 years, 10 years. I have a friend who's had it for 20 years, and one day the swelling went up. So you cannot trust that you're doing well today and you will do well tomorrow. However, once you had surgery, once you had treatment, then that threat is removed. The threat of it getting worse and becoming debilitating, that threat is mostly removed. I mean, you still have to wear the compression, you still have to exercise and be careful. But if you do what your surgeon will tell you what to do, and I will tell you what to do, because I do provide lots of support for people who have surgery. So I'll be here holding your hand.
Okay, I need you.
So if you do if you do what you're supposed to do, the medical treatment, the surgery does stop the progression of the disease. And that's really important. That this is why we're doing these videos, because I want people to know that. I want them to know there is hope, there is a treatment, but also don't trust because you're doing well today that the disease will stay the same tomorrow.
Well, that's such an important point, Dominique, because I thought, I'm 67 years old. What, I'm too old to go through this, or, I'll just live like this. It's not that big a deal. And then I start thinking exactly what you said. What if 5, 10, 15 years from now, something blows up and it really is too late to get it fixed, or it is something that really compromises my health and my limb and my life. I don't want to look back in 10 years and say, oh, I wish I'd done that.
Right. Jean, thank you very much for the testimonial you have given us today.
Thank you for all of the work you're doing to support lymphedema and some of the solutions. And it's just been wonderful connecting with you. I so appreciate that.
And we wish you much luck with your appointment with Dr. Chen. And we will meet again to discuss your recovery and your success.